Finally. After 84 years. Zhanhu has been fixed, baby.
Again, mostly. Secondly, we have a bit of a change in addition to the end flow. As you all know, we recently updated the end flow, totally revamped the whole screen, but we noticed there was a piece of feedback that we received from the community. They wanted a skip all button. So
yeah, let us
said, okay.
skip it.
So you'll have a skip all button now.
We just said okay.
We just said okay. Yeah, we're just like, yeah, it makes sense. Makes sense. So we have a little video you can see here. So during that, you can now just hold and skip
nice,
so
finally.
Get you in a few
we
seconds,
have the technology.
faster, so you can equip some of the loot
a small step
the match and,
for man,
hopefully you enjoy that.
but a big step
Game of the year right there.
for Ubisoft.
Yeah. Love it, love it. We're always improving, always improving.
Always.
Yeah, and we also have some new retrofits coming for the Outlanders and the Kyoshin. Specifically, if you like to get musical out there on the battlefield, you're going to have some awesome Horkos emotes. So the Horkos bagpipe, violin, zither, and music box are getting retrofit for the Pirate, the Meije, and the Kyoshin, as well as the Horkos Grimoire.
Okay.
Also, we're retrofitting the paired emote Horkos Crew for the Outlanders, the Pirate and the Meije. I should say pricing. That costs 10k steel, and the emotes also 7k steel. Finally, two executions of the musical variety once again.
But there isn't going to be any balance patch notes, are there?
For 7k steel, the Farewell Chimera
Damn.
Zither and Farewell Chimera Music Box. So, if you're a big fan of musical content, I know I am.
Why am I even here?
For the newest heroes in the game.
I mean, your own concert in game, it's amazing.
You can, and we've seen that.
So
and
disappointing.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
You're gonna have a concert on one side, a dance party on the other. Like,
You can.
What beats that, right?
Apparently, giant spider monsters. It's
Probably,
going to be
yeah,
that. So,
you know.
but we'll get onto that. So, great. So that's a bit for the housekeeping stuff. But like I said, roll up your sleeves, all. Get ready, because we got some patch notes to do. JC, I hope you're ready, because this is going to be a bit of a marathon.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. So
All
we
right.
can raise the roof and get to it, so it's going to be good. All
it.
right,
Let's
so
kick it off.
let's talk about balance updates and fighter stuff, right? So there is a lot of stuff, like in the previous title.
Oh my
update,
god,
so
there are
let's just
balance
keep going with it.
updates.
Super cool. First up, we have dodge and iframe
Holy
timing.
shit, Zhanhu iFrames.
Just to clarify,
no fucking
iFrames
way.
is when you are fully invulnerable and attacks just phase through you.
Wait.
And tracking break, which is a new term that we're kind of using here. I want to make sure that everybody kind of gets what it means. It's whenever you throw an attack and somebody's dodging or doing a dodge attack or whatever, and then the opponent's tracking. So normally when an opponent throws an attack at you and you dodge, or if you stay still rather, like the attack tracks, right? So if you just move sideways, your opponent's gonna like keep rotating with you to hit you. Tracking break stops that from happening, makes it easier to dodge attacks and stuff. So that's kind of like what we're doing there for these terms, just to make sure it's clear for everybody, because it might be a little bit. But what we've been doing now is that iframes, we've added iframes to these hero side dodge attacks. So Zhanhu, Nusha, Shaman, Shaolin, and Meije. So for Nusha and Shaman, like we just upped them by a little by one frame. For the others, we actually added it, especially for Meiji in Axe mode. That's going to be like a big buff there. And we've also fixed the tracking break for Peacekeeper, Shaman, Nusha, and Zhanhu on their side dodge attacks as well. So with these, like the only one that's a little bit changed here is Shaman. That's at 233 instead of 266. But overall, we've added them, so it makes it easier for you to do dodge attacks and actually dodge attacks with them. I know sometimes people were like, yeah, it's kind of hard to, like it's hard to use in group fights or whatever. This should really help out. So that's pretty good there.
Awesome.
I don't know the difference
Next up,
between
we have
tracking
Kensei. So
back
Kensei's a
and
big winner in this patch.
whatever.
We've done a bunch of
Alright,
changes to Kensei. We
Kensei
really want
finally
that
is
hero to
powerful
have
now, huh? Nice.
More neutral offense. Get into it a little bit more. Be able to have like more stuff, because he's one of those characters that doesn't really have. On with a mic. Okay. So Kensei is one of those characters that has a little bit of a hard time opening up opponents, getting into it. So we've buffed him a little bit so that like the top of the opener is now 800 MS, which is down from 1000.
Yeah, this is basically all Kensei major problems are fixed now. That's crazy. Crazy good for Kensei.
Still suffering from this. So we really wanted to give Kensei a lot more offense in there.
That's really good, man.
Going to finishers. We've recently buffed his finishers as well. So that makes like a whole package.
No more interruption and chains.
We've also nerfed the damage. Of course, it has to be 24 instead of
And
I think it was a 30 before.
way better neutral offense like
It also gives
Aramusha.
them a new GB punish as well when you go down and
This is very good for Kensei players. Wonder where Kensei will land after this patch.
Top heavy a little bit, reduce its damage, again provide a bit more offense, make things a little bit faster for Kensei, get into his mix-up a little bit easier. And we've also sped up the side heavy finisher. So these are the versions that you use when you soft feint from the top heavy, or when you use them like you use them normally, right? But at 800 instead of 9, it should be a little bit easier to trade with them, to hit people with them, and we've adjusted the damage as well. So nothing here is over 30. It's kind of like a break point. We're trying to hit more and more and more to have like damage that's still high, but not overly high, and you go, oh, I died.
I mean, it's high to finishes weren't hitting that often anyways, bro.
The hit reactions on a lot of these attacks.
It's like unblockable heavy damage that you need to worry about.
Like really ledge from further away, have these types of issues. We really want to get a little step away from that a little bit. And with the faster speeds, it lets us do that with keeping feint the Guardbreak afterwards working. That's pretty good. Wow.
So, yeah,
Maybe like attacks that actually like have huge ass trajectories and land a lot in team fights
show off your Kensei skills now.
with huge ass damage.
Zhanhu changes. So you might see 3 lines here, and you go, what's going on? But then the first line is actually really major. Is that we've adjusted the chain link timings to heavy finishers.
Finally, after 84 years.
Zhanhu had a bit of an
Zhanhu has been fixed, baby.
And then if the other opponent was good enough, like had enough skill and was able to make the animation a little bit better, as soon as you threw a heavy, they could match light and beat your heavy.
Not even good enough, dude. Just knowledge
so that
check.
Has been fixed.
Just light introvert constantly, bro.
And whenever Zhanhu goes into their chain, you actually have to stay there and.
Why did that take so long, man?
That's like really important.
But thank you anyways, man. I will enjoy using Zhanhu in 1v1s now.
To be able to catch roll attempts. Because with these changes, even with those changes, a lot of the time, if you're playing against Zhanhu, whenever he could hit you
from light to heavy, feint, guardbreak, I guess people could roll away.
And then all Zhanhu could do was do heavy, feint, dodge forward, something. It was always a bit of a disaster and didn't make a lot of sense. So with that, at least you get a lot more pressure again from going to finishers, especially the heavy ones. And we've also did a small buff to the side dodge heavy attacks that they're missing 700 down from 8. Again, makes it a little bit safer. There, all good there.
Yeah, 3 bullet points, but a lot happening.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah.
If I went in there and listed everything we did for the first point, it would take like six slides or something. So we're gonna try to cut
the East Asian big sword gamers are happy now, baby.
So JJ changes, right? So Jiang Jun is a bit overperforming right now. It's a tiny bit of an issue. Yeah, right. Like he's one of the top pick in competitive.
A little bit.
In every single game. So we're trying to adjust JJ a little bit.
So a little bit OP.
One buff in there though, where we've removed the damage reduction on Dushi's choke victim. Right. So whenever you
it's like Warmonger where you don't want to get fucking buried by Jiang Jun in a gank because you will die now.
It was I think it was the last one or one of the last few ones that still applied damage reduction on the victim.
Oh, okay.
So because it's a move off of parry, it
and
doesn't
better
really
input
make that much sense there.
from
so we
choke.
removed that entirely, so you can get ally heavies off of it and get like into a groove there. But it's like super hard.
Yoshi's world is now 600 MS.
But we've also improved the input comfort a little bit, right? To do that move. It used to be like static.
Wasn't it already 600 MS? What are you talking about?
And then comes
Sifu Sword is 633 MS. Was that really necessary? Isn't the right way to handle this move?
After a parry, right?
I guess so.
It's now 600 MS down from 5. So it might not seem like much, but
and
that 100
heavy
MS
finisher
there makes it
reduction.
a lot easier for people that
It's
are
good.
around a JJ to be able to
Very
dodge.
good for
It's
this
a big,
character.
white,
Damage reduction.
sweeping, unblockable.
Very necessary.
You need to be able to get out of it. Very few characters.
What about
have
Last Stand
tools that
though,
you
huh?
can use Against that, I guess if you're not like beat
Damn right.
do anything, so
Gonna do anything about Last Stand, are you?
to dodge out of it.
Okay.
Sifu Swirl, which is the zone when you go into Sifu stance, is 1 frame longer. Might not seem like much again, but it helps with it being a little bit more reactable, a little bit easier for your opponent to see, for people around you to see. Again, it's a big, wide, sweeping, unblockable, so we kind of wanted to get there a little bit. And then finally, there's some damage nerfs. So top heavy finisher now deals 30 instead of 32, and the side heavy finisher.
Not sure how I feel about Sifu as well.
Again, try to cap the damage at 30 here. And these attacks are super strong. Again, really big white sweeping unblockable, so you gotta be careful. So we wanted to like lower the potential.
I don't know how it will work.
I appreciate that. Somebody else.
But damage reduction is good.
So yes, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you for that.
that's good.
Appreciate that.
That's the main thing
Very
for
well.
me.
Next up, Shinobi. Shinobi is pure nurse right now. We've seen that Shinobi is being banned in competitive play. So we're doing some stuff here to at least alleviate the problem. Hopefully, it will not be as problematic. There might be
Holy
more
shit,
things
second rank initial hit
future.
feats.
But for now,
55
what we're doing is Shadow
revenge.
Strike, so that's the
Holy
parry
shit.
punish After,
Okay.
When you press like rather on during a parry punish, right? So there was.
Oh my god,
fixed-
second rank says a
we
big
fixed
chain
this where You
revenge.
could like kind of unlock and do it. There was like this weird tech.
Yeah.
You can use it and go into sickle range.
So with a good
So
gank,
we
it
fixed
feeds
that, but then
75
players,
revenge.
as crafty as they are and amazing as they are, figured out a different way to do it. So to be able to fix it properly and
Holy
not have
crap,
more
okay.
issues, we've removed the chain on miss on it entirely. So if you manage to
I don't know.
unlock, backstep it, throw it somewhere else, you can't go into sickle range at all anymore. So that should really help on a heavy parry that was like way too strong. And then sickle range.
Oh,
now
the
feeds
shadow
more
strike
damage.
chain thing is
You can
like
see
with the
numbers
bug.
here, but
Buggy, yeah, it's
essentially we
very
want it
fall
to
up
be,
again.
like,
Okay.
it's a tricky thing to
I get
remove
it.
all those loops for now. It's something we're investigating, we're looking into it. But at the moment, because Shinobi is so problematic, we've massively raised the amount of damage that the hero feeds, so that you can go into multiple loops of this.
But they're looking into
Should really
pins,
help with
that's
their
nice.
Damage or
I appreciate that.
Revenge, sorry, yeah,
Okay, I'm
revenge.
just gonna-
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
pins
sorry,
are
sorry,
plague
more
in this
damage.
game.
Yeah,
Shinobi.
sorry, yeah. Thank you for clarifying
No.
that.
I
We've
will
raised the
destroy
revenge, how much
anybody who
revenge it
uses
feeds.
pins.
So it counts as if you dealt
I'm
55
gunning for
damage,
you.
which actually deals
I'm
28
rapidly
damage. So
approaching
there's that
your
kind of-
location.
Gotcha. Okay.
Now we have other changes. So first up, we have input comfort changes, right? So for Warmonger, Centurion, and Warlord, we've did for Jiang Jun over before.
That's nice.
We've increased the window where you can perform their parry punishes after a successful parry, so that it's a little bit become more comfortable. It's easier to do. You don't have to like really mash and buffer it like crazy. Now BP.
That's fine.
So we've reduced the distance you travel when you backstep light openers, right? Because they have superior block. What ends up happening quite often is that you could like backstep those lights. If an attack was coming, you would superior
Oh,
block
God.
it, you would win. And if it missed, you just missed and you were super safe. So by reducing
Yeah,
the
that's
distance traveled
good.
there, at least,
Backstep lights
like it can
nerf
still
is good.
happen, but it's gonna happen less often, and it opens.
Zone
up
attack
for a
at
little bit
600
more, like,
MS though.
punishes there in that aspect.
Oh, that's kind of cringe.
But we've
That's
also
really
buffed
kinda
the
cringe.
Speed of his zone attack to 600 MS, down from 7. So it's a neutral zone, costs a bunch of stamina, but it's one of those things that we wanted to see if BP could have more ways to open up opponents and do front dodge bash all the time, right? So with this, we're gonna see if that works. Again, there might be more
But
changes coming.
why would you use that, to be honest?
The
Still
game
no
is
reason to use
evolving
it.
more and more and more now. Like we've been doing a lot of those changes, so we'll see where that goes.
It's almost
Except
like after
to
6
bump
years,
people
it's an
away, I
iterative
guess.
process or
Yeah,
something.
exactly, right?
Yeah,
And so I'm really happy that like we're able to do like more changes now more often. Really helps with this stuff
for sure. Yeah.
Then Yorm.
Why are you
Yorm's
now
zone
able to
attack
do
now
more
costs
changes more
20
often, huh?
Stamina down from 60. Don't worry, Yorm players. Don't worry. We didn't forget you last time.
Zone attack,
These things
baby.
were
That's
planned, and,
Yomaganda
sometimes we
rework.
run out of time, so we have to do what we can. But yeah, so at 20 stamina, way better zone attack. And we've also adjusted the attack trajectory. So by that I mean like hitboxes. It's just that term that we typically use because it's not really hitboxes. It's really like weapon trajectory.
Zone attack and hitboxes, baby.
Yeah.
So we've adjusted them for zone attack and for all of its side heavy attacks, so that they can hit people more reliably that are external to you. Really helps in anti-ganking situations and stuff. That should be really good. And with the upcoming rework for Yorm that we're gonna have at some point soonish, we'll be able to get there. It's not in this TG.
Spoiler alert.
But we'll get into it.
And I really thought they were
That's
gonna
really
delete Yomaganda this
TM.
patch
Yeah,
finally.
soon TM, right?
Okay, gotcha.
We actually found. I don't know if you remember. Steph
The
had like
stewards,
some
Ubisoft.
glasses back in the day.
Those were
And-
antlers, or were they
I think they were
Don't
Steph's, I don't know, but we
don't
found them,
tiptoe
so
around the
it's
issue.
fine.
Just
Yeah, we're
delete Yomaganda already.
in here? Should have been
Yeah. Okay, so next up we have Zerk. So for Berserker,
them out of his
Boar Rush,
misery.
which is Berserker's sprint attack, it now has uninterruptible stance. That's armor, but we still like to use the appropriate word that we actually use in game, which is uninterruptible stance. Starting
Wait.
at 400 MS, so you can use that sprint attack to really jump into the fray.
The
jump
sprint
into enemies,
attack,
use that
okay.
to really initiate from further away.
Interesting.
And with that armor, it lets you trade hits with people, even if there's like a bunch of opponents you're fighting.
That's pretty funny, okay.
Gotcha.
For Nusha, So we have we've reduced the Guardbreak vulnerability on her zone attack to 100 MS instead of 5.
Dude, she can now like punish Guardbreak with 10s like a motherfucker with that zone. That's really funny.
For Gladiator then, we have also made that Fushina Ictus, which is a toe stab. When you use it in chains, now it's 500 MS instead of 6. That's a big buff for Gladiator.
Really good.
Faster attacks there. It's also kind of a chain reset, so you can like throw a bunch of attacks, go into toe stab, restart your chain, get into it. At 6, it was a bit too slow in chains, but at 5...
That's really crazy, and it's also crazy that they can actually do that.
Really crazy top players can kind of react to that.
That's cool.
Why do you hate toes so much?
I don't know, man. I don't have that kind of, I'm not attracted to feats, so it's okay.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Then finally we've got Pirate, right? So for Pirate, we've done 2 changes. One of them is we removed the soft feint to Guardbreak from Cavalier Dance, which is front dodge type. So that move has a lot of properties, right? It's armored, it's unblockable, it could soft feint to Guardbreak, it also has recovery cancels at the end. And so we want to keep the move to be able to open up opponents at least a little bit, right? We've seen, and a lot of feedback we've gotten from high level is that for them, it's not even enough to have all these properties, but at the same time, having that soft feint to Guardbreak there was not really necessary, so we've decided to remove it.
I think there was like a tech where you parry on last frame and then you're safe with the soft feint.
But the next change I'm really happy
with. But like, honestly, I don't
chain
even
link,
see that.
It doesn't seem like much, right?
Okay, I guess pros were safe from that somehow.
What that means is that we want pirate players to be a little bit more skillful and think more when they're using their attacks and going to that pistol blast. We know that it's really good, it interrupts armor, it does a bunch of really good stuff, but now the trade-off is that if you use the pistol blast and go into walk the plank into softening the Guardbreak, you should no longer be able to grab the Guardbreak every single dodge and dodge attack out of it, right?
Gotcha.
So you now have to make a choice. Either you let the heavy fly, you don't go into pistol blast, and you get a better mix-up.
I thought that was already the case.
Or you do your pistol blast and you get a slightly worse mix-up. So you kind of have to like be smart and decide: do I trade? Do I not trade? What do I take there? So that you can get into a better situation afterwards.
But yeah, now it's definitely the case where you have the choice between no pistol blast and grabbing dodge attacks always,
We have one more.
and pistol blast and potentially not grabbing dodge attacks.
Yeah.
Do you want to skip this?
No,
we talk about
I'll go over it a little bit, yeah. So
Guardbreak change is
in
nice.
the previous testing grounds that we've done in the current season right now, we had a change for counter Guardbreak that basically ended up having the person that did the counter Guardbreak recover 1 frame earlier than the opponent.
Right.
We've seen a lot of videos from content creators explaining why this is a great change. It doesn't seem like much for a lot of players, but when you get into the deep of it, it's a big change. And through a very lucky break that we had, and we were able to push it live in this title update.
So next week.
Yeah, next week, right?
It's gonna go live next
week. So from a testing ground,
Counter Guardbreak thing is gonna be nice for stopping Guardbreak spam, reduce backwards moving. I don't like that, honestly. I like to be able to backwards dodge roll out of like gank situations after Guardbreak and all that, and that will not be possible anymore.
We're super happy. We're really happy that it worked well. So kudos to the team. And
I don't see why that had to be removed.
Giving us really good feedback. So that's
don't know.
So JC, do you feel like, I mean, would you like to say that that feedback you get from testing grounds, I mean, that's something you use and the team really looks at?
Not like non-stop. We're gonna go over it a little bit more, but whenever there's a testing grounds, we're on Reddit, we're on the forums, we're looking at everything to make sure that we gather all this feedback.
Whenever there's testing grounds, we're on Reddit.
It's all amazing stuff. So
whenever there's
so keep giving that
even
feedback.
like when there isn't a testing grounds, I'm on Reddit.
Maybe one day.
I'm basically always on
so
Reddit.
Is that about it?
That's it for us.
I'm a Redditor.
Right now.
Holy crap! By the way, are you?
I'm actually the moderator of RC for Honor.
I'm okay for now. I think we have more stuff to go through in the next segment. But for now, I'm feeling pretty good.
I mean, when do you sleep? Like that's
never.
A ton. Never.
Never. Ask my wife. She'll tell you. I never.
Zero sleep. Okay, gotcha.
It's just all work and no play. So.
Man. Well, it's incredible, and I'm sure like the team, you know.
Yeah. Honestly, like the team, like I make it sound like I'm doing this all myself. There, we have a team of game designers, people that are like amazing at what we do. They work tirelessly, do a lot of stuff, test out. We're playing the game all the time within ourselves to try to figure out what could we do to improve the game and like what kind of changes could we do that would be super interesting. So it's really cool. And like really big kudos to the entire game design team and the rest of the team as well.
We have to, first of all, buff last stand, and second of all,
other teams coming in and looking at the stuff we're doing,
add
giving us feedback. It's always
Magi's extend sprint attack right now. I need it.
Awesome, absolutely awesome.
I need it in my life. I need it like crack cocaine in my fucking veins, bro.
1 week away from all of that. So yeah,
Come on, Magi
extend
sprint attack.
On next week and get to try out all that. So JC, just thank you so much for sharing all of that, and high five. There you go. All right. So stick around though, because we already hinted at some testing ground stuff, but we got another segment coming up. I'm going to tag out for Brian, and he's going to come. And JC, I think you're hanging out. And
I'm hanging out here, yeah.
Going to talk some testing grounds very soon. So stick around.
Freaking testing grounds!
Everyone with headphones just got ripped. Anyway, we're here with JC again and Mr. Alex.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us today.
No problem.
I saw you in the back cracking up. JC, how you been, man?
I'm pretty good. Ah! What's going on there? Oh, geez.
Finally.
I should have a real hat behind this.
You okay? Okay.
Check it. Yeah.
So we're talking testing grounds.
Yeah.
There's all this candy, and I've overindulged.
Yeah,
as you can
it's
see.
a bit of a problem, I see.
Yeah. No, it's not a problem. It's a solution.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a mindset, right? But we got stuff coming to testing grounds. We're doing stuff with dodge attacks, apparently. It's kind of a little bit technical.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about that. Yeah. So those of you who don't like technical stuff, too bad.
What the fuck are they going to do? Oh god, okay.
Right. Okay, so let me get into
Turn the game into 50-50 simulator. Let's go.
We're doing something, right? So with this testing grounds, we're testing something a little bit different. We're doing dodge attack updates and changes to dodges and dodge attacks in general, right? So we're doing this because we've been seeing it quite a bit online, and we've seen it ourselves as well. Like we're not blind. That a lot of the time, there's a risk-reward ratio there that is really heavily skewed towards the defender, especially when they have heavy dodge attacks, right? Because you parry them, you get hit by a little light afterwards, nothing much happens.
I can see that.
Generally, it's like, well,
side dodge heavy grounds, light attack punishes,
my
but are more
always to do side dodge heavy, right? There's a reason why dodge heavy is a crazy team, right?
Yeah. And I mean, we made fun of people when Griffin came out because they were like, I don't know how to handle this, and we're like, literally just parry.
Right?
Yeah.
But then the thing is, yes, just parry, but the problem ends up being that risk reward matrix I was talking about is kind of the unbalanced towards the defender, right? Because you do it every single time. Your opponent always has to feint to neutral, parry, get a light, you throw another attack, your opponent still dodges into a heavy, and rinse and repeat, right? So we're trying to solve that issue a little bit.
And no blocking while dodging.
Where it's more favored towards the attacker, more favored towards.
But you can dodge into walls with iFrames.
Side
Okay.
dodge heavies when they
Well, that's fine
attacks in
with
general,
me, I
right?
guess.
When they feel it is the best tool for the situation and not the default response to every single attack.
It's not like this is safe. I'm
Exactly.
gonna do it.
Well,
This is safe.
Right, exactly, right? So we're going towards that, and on top of that, we're also looking at dodges themselves.
Of course, then basically
and adapting some of the things there so that it opens up a door towards better mix-ups in general, right? Right now, one of the big issues that we have is that when we do undodgeable attacks that are not from front dodge, we have to have at least 2 stances every single time, because otherwise what you can do with a lot of heroes is just block in one direction, dodge into the other, and then you end up blocking a side dodge attack. Like if it's a single direction, right? If it's only top, for a lot of heroes you can just block top and then side dodge.
Right.
And then you beat both the bash and the undodgeable. So that's a bit of our problem here, and it's really forcing us to spread out undodgeable all across the stances all the time. So we're looking at a way that we're doing something where this is going to be less of a problem. That's one of the things we're going to be testing here. That should be pretty cool. So Alex, you want to tell us like what the changes are a little bit, quick?
Yes.
All side dodge attacks, even Zhanhu, so it doesn't make any
Just
sense.
go to the PowerPoint there, and then we can go into it.
Dead magic, bro.
All right. So first of all, the first thing we're looking at is whenever you parry a dodge attack now, you will always be able to retaliate with a heavy attack. So the same thing as if you were to parry a light attack.
I guess deflecting dodge
So
attacks
here
and all
we're
that's
saying,
kind of
okay,
useless now as well,
I see
though.
an attack.
You
I
just
want a
parry
dodge
them
attack.
now.
Well, I'm taking a risk because instead, like the trade-off in damage is going to be a bit better for the person who baited the dodge attack, basically. So you're going to have to think a little bit more about it. Then
Basically flipping it from like doing that heavy parry and eating a light to doing a light
Yeah,
parry
exactly.
and
Yeah.
eating a heavy.
Exactly.
You're just like, whoop.
And
which
side
was
dodge
kind of a
bash
big
now,
problem
of
for
course,
in
as
Europe.
well.
Like I do a dodge attack, I don't care if I get parried.
Yeah.
Now it's like, okay, now it's a big deal. I gotta actually think about it, right?
Right. So if you want to see, like, you can try it out, Alex.
Yeah. But
Oh yeah. Eh? Okay. So we have a bit of a technical issue here. We can go back to the PowerPoint
yes.
and keep going through it. And yeah, so let's. So the other problem, the other thing that we have here is that not only are side dodge heavies, they're not light parry punishes, right? So every time you parry a side dodge heavy, you can get a heavy attack. It's also applied to side dodge bashes as well. So on side dodge bashes, they can no longer chain on miss, and they're always Guardbreak vulnerable.
So
if
stuff
you
like
read- if
Shinobi's
like a
Scout,
Shinobi in your
side dodge
face, or,
bashing, and
I don't know, like whoever else has a side like a conqueror,
in
for
team
example,
fights,
right?
and
They're gonna do
Shigoku's
side dodge
side
bash.
dodge bashing in team
If you
fights
read that, you do side dodge into Guardbreak,
is...
and then it's always gonna land. They can't chain on miss, they can't do any of those things. So the idea is whenever you successfully read
Well, no, mostly
that your
Shigoku.
opponent is going to do a side dodge attack, you always get at least a heavy's worth of damage. Depending on some heroes, sometimes a little bit more of a light parry or
Conqueror
whatever,
don't actually
but
change
that's
too
kinda like the
much
idea here.
with their side dodge
So
bashes.
that's super interesting. It's something I've seen being requested a ton on Reddit. Like even yesterday, even this morning, there was a thread about people going, you know, if you were dev for just one day, what would you do, right?
Yeah.
Again, proof that I read Reddit. And one of the changes that somebody put, like a lot of people put, all side dodge heavy should be like parries, right? We're testing that right now. Super awesome. I can't wait to see that.
Yeah, I think
And-
Freeze has mentioned this. A few
Yeah, I
times
think, yeah.
in
So a
his
lot of people
videos
have
as
been
well.
mentioning a lot of that stuff. So that goes really well.
From
I know.
his volcano
Yeah,
base.
yeah. When we had our workshop with some of the pro players, when we revealed Medjai before, they actually tested this and they all loved it. So I don't want to speak for them, but Freeze had a massive smile on his face that it was awesome, even though it was from home. I could only see from the
It's
camera.
like, this is everything I
Yeah,
need in my
this is everything
life.
I need. That was good.
I mean, I guess, you know, it's a question
best
like
freeze
deflecting a
Yeah,
side dodge
right?
heavy
Yeah,
is relatively difficult as opposed to
Really
throwing the
complex, yeah.
side dodge heavy, so I guess it makes
So
sense
Do we
that
have the switch fixed? Not
it
not the
should
switch,
just give
like
a
the
light parry
switch.
instead,
Yeah,
because
not the
parrying it
switch.
is easier,
Switch.
and
Little bit
throwing
of,
a side
of
dodge heavy
info,
to
like the way
nope
we
out of
work
pressure
often
is
when we do our
pretty
builds is
calm and
that we
pretty
have, like,
easy.
we have little
No,
switches we can turn on
totally.
and off to turn on stuff from testing grounds.
So,
or whatever
I guess
is
it's
working
okay.
on. So that's what Alex is gonna fix. Okay, so that's a bit of a nerf, right? Because those dodge attacks, because they're more vulnerable, it becomes a bit more difficult to use them.
But also,
But one of the
like,
things that
for
we've been
example,
doing at
it's
the
a
same
huge
time, which
nerf
is a
to
bit
someone
of a
like
buff,
Griffin,
right? So we want to equalize things a little bit.
for
is that
example,
we've
because
made
you
that
kind of
every
lives off his
single
dodge attack
can
as
now be
well.
delayed from at least 2 to 400 MS.
Okay.
So before a lot
And
of the
I mean,
heroes
Kensei is
we
fine
do
now,
were
but
static at
before it would have
300.
been pretty
So
terrible.
let's say Hitokiri, for example.
So this is more of like a standardization.
Right, yeah, it's more of a standardization,
It's
but
a pretty
some
big
heroes
nerf
that
to
had
Hitokiri
more
as well,
are keeping more,
but
some heroes that have more.
Hitokiri is fine.
We're changing things a little bit around, so.
But yeah,
it's
I'm
just
worried
side dodge
mostly
attacks.
about
It's
Griffin.
just side dodge attacks, right? So friend
'Cause
dodge,
he will be
back
trash
dodge
with
for, like,
those
orochi or
changes.
whatever, those are unchanged. It's really only side dodge ones.
Like utter
So
trash.
It really helps with the comfort
Honestly.
for the input first, right? Because you can side dodge and do whatever.
Terrible.
But it's also really interesting because you can extend your iframes, do them super quick, get all that stuff going. So that works really, really well. It's super interesting there, so that works quite well. And then the other change that we've done, well, I'll let these guys figure the rest of the stuff out, is we have what we call again, like there's iframes, right?
And
So you
even
know what iframes
Magi
are,
is
like
also
spoken about
questionable
again a
how
little
good he will be.
Right? Okay.
You
But-
cannot take
With
us
those
back.
changes.
Yeah, right. So, but the thing is, when we're dodging,
Might be
our
much worse.
iframes were speed dependent, and by that I mean if you're dodging into a wall, your iframes would go away because you hit a wall. You had to reach a certain
like
speed.
Character speed
Yeah,
dependent.
character
Yeah.
speed dependent, right? So whenever you dodge, once you reach a specific threshold, you would gain iframes, And if you stop because you hit a wall, you hit an ally, an enemy, a minion, whatever, your iframes would go away. That made it super hard to do stuff in team fights.
So you always have
It made it
iframes
really
even if you
difficult
dodge into a
to
wall,
get there.
which is
So-
great because, you know,
Yeah,
it feels like shit when you
feels
dodge
grooving.
into
So,
a wall or
we-
into a
we remove
teammate
those
at
and
the
they are no
last
longer speed
milliseconds of your
dependent.
dodge
So
and then die
if you
because of
dodge
it.
into a wall, you keep your iframes. If you dodge into whatever your
It's a good
situations are,
change, I'd say.
you keep your iframes, right? So that's really, really
Like,
good.
purely good
But
change.
to compensate for this and to also help us have what I was talking about
And
before
no
with the
blocking during
undodgeables,
dodging is also a purely good
whenever
change.
you dodge, see you can see your Hitokiri
So we
dodging
can
right
see it now, right?
Yeah, we can see it right now,
We
right?
fixed the thing.
So if you pay attention, you see like Hitokiri when he's standing still has the little block.
Because like external
Right? So you
avoidance
see he's blocking top or whatever.
while
Normally,
blocking is
when
pretty...
you dodge, you keep those. For
pretty
most
insane
heroes,
right now.
Except like reflex guard heroes are a little
But
bit
I wonder
different.
how fast you'll die in a
Every
team
single
fight
static
now
hero, since I say hero keeps their
without
defense while they're dodging. Sometimes it forces change.
your
sometimes it stays
permanent
where it was
guard
at.
while dodging.
And in a lot of cases, this is problematic because, like I was saying earlier, if I could do
It'll be interesting.
this with Shinobi, like Hito could block top and then side dodge and always block it. And it would negate every single mix-up I could do. And then that's why Shaolin, in this example, had to have undodgeable on at least 2 stances. And usually we put it on all 3 to make it a bit more uniform.
Right.
So with this change, every single hero now loses their defense while they are dodging. Now this doesn't mean that like reflex guard heroes or heroes that have superior block, for example, lose them. They still keep those special properties while they're dodging, but everybody else kind of acts like Valkyrie does right now, right? So Valkyrie right now on live, even after a rework, doesn't keep her defense while she's dodging, but not everybody is like that.
Okay, so kind of a passive buff.
Kind of a
little bit,
passive
little
buff
bit.
to Valkyrie, right? So because we're changing around because we're changing
Massive
around
Valkyrie
the
buffs.
iframe stuff, it makes it so that
Damn,
you're still able
boy.
to defend, still able to dodge, still able to do all those things, and you get into a good situation, right?
Again, it's always we want you to think about your
Exactly,
action.
right? We want to really reward skillful play and not just mindlessly do stuff and go, well, whatever, I don't know what I'm doing.
And so for those who don't know what to look for when you see like Hito's soul leaving his body, that is also the soul of dodge attack spammers leaving their body right now in the chat.
Yeah, and so we can see right now, Alex can do a couple of dodge attacks here. See, and that's a light parry. Boom, I get a heavy every single time.
I appreciate you throwing the top heavy for me.
Right, so, and you can still, like, dodge attacks still work, right? You can still use
What
them.
about Warmonger's side dodge heavy?
A bit more comfort.
Yeah.
You can relate a bit more, see what's going on.
So
Yeah,
if
see,
they
for
make that a
Shaolin
light
before,
parry,
you can
then
only, like, really do them here.
that's
Now
down
you
as
can do
hell.
them super early, and you can do them really late. Right, so that's like the late time we were talking about.
yeah.
It really, really helps in those situations. That's really amazing. And then if you want to show off the iframes, Alex, if you
Yes,
go to
I
a
was
corner.
going to ask you to do that.
Yeah, thank you.
Because this, I love this because sometimes like I'm bad and I get stuck in corners
Yeah.
and then I just get murked by 3 different people and I'm like, I don't know
So,
that
yeah,
I
so right now
wanted
on
to be
live,
here.
right, yeah, so right now on live, if like Hito had his guard to the side or whatever, and I threw a top heavy and he back dodged, he could not dodge it. And now
Damn, boy.
this could not happen on live right now. So because you keep your iframes while you're dodging into the wall, then you end up being able to escape situations and dodge out of situations. A lot of the times, this type of stuff, if you have a bash, you can't do anything right now in life. And it becomes really frustrating. You get kind of stuck in the corner, and you have to hope that by you mash dodge, and I'm gonna like squeeze out of the corner. Now, no problem, you can always just back dodge, side dodge, you're gonna avoid everything. Works super, super, super well in this sense.
Yeah, I think it's C on Gauntlet. You tend to get pushed in that corner.
Yeah, there's
And
a
it
lot of
just,
those.
Like it just happens all the time, and
That's
you
it.
got the trap to worry about.
Even in this map, right? This is a competitive duels map. There's a lot of those little corners at a bunch of places, right? So we want to make sure that you're able to escape those situations and defend yourself when you get trapped in those situations. So overall, that's it. The goal of the testing grounds is really, really to change up the risk-reward matrix there, so that dodge attacks are still good. We still want people to use them. We still have them in the game. We just added them to heroes that didn't have them, right? We wouldn't do that if we didn't want to have them. But at the same time, spamming dodge attacks now should not be as useful. And again, it's really about rewarding skillful play. You have to think when you're doing dodge attacks and not just, I see an attack, I dodge attack all the time, right? It's still really good against lights. It's still really good against bashes. Against heavies, you're taking a big risk, right? And you can, like, it lands, you're gonna deal what, like 14, 15 damage? You get parried, you take at least 24, if not 27, or even more in case of some other heroes. So that's kind of like the big change
So
here.
just flipped the trade from defender to
Exactly. Right.
And
We
that's
really
also a
wanted to have
passive
that kind of
Zhanhu
balance there to change it. And so, but that's it for this testing ground. I know a lot of
Because
players
his dodge attack already
really
sucks for
hoping to see
defense.
Yorm in this TU. We want to take our time. What a good friend. What a hammer. This is a great hammer, by the way. Like, thank you, Andre, from our dev tester team, who made this beautiful hammer. I can officially announce that the testing grounds for Jormungandr is going to be in the next season. So, year 6, season 4. We're going to have the testing grounds for Yorm in there.
What is happening?
We've been taking our time a little bit with it because it's a challenging character to rework. Vanessa's team, we went to mocap with them. We worked tirelessly with them to make sure that we have new animations, new attacks, new stuff for Yorm. We know people love the character, right? And we love the character too. But the way the character was built, and a lot of people say, like, we've seen tier lists, right? Where like Yorm is always at the bottom. And we really want the hero to
Get
be
ready
viable.
for
Doesn't mean we're
Jormungandr
aiming for like a S tier must pick all the time.
version
but
2.
really that you can play with the character, that it's fun to play with, it's fun to play against, and have really interesting tools. But to do that, we did have to go back to mocap, make new attacks, add new things to really get into that groove of we're gonna make almost a brand new hero out of him, which is super, super cool. I know, like, Alex has been playing with him quite a bit.
It's amazing.
Everybody's super hyped. Again,
Like
when
I
we did
said,
the workshop, we had
Jormungandr needs a lot of work,
version
which is
of
why
the
other
hero
characters
going
came
there.
first.
And everybody was super excited about it as well. So it's like we're all really, really hyped for Yorm. So
It's awesome. I'm so excited. And there was like someone in chat earlier. I think it was like ShantyCat1266 or something. It wasn't him. It was someone else. But they were like, "Oh, so you can mocap a giant spider, but you can't mocap moves." And I'm happy to say, suck it.
yeah,
Like you picked the wrong stream to say that.
yeah, right. And so sometimes it also, like, I know it can feel like it takes a long time for us to rework some characters and like blah, 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 but at the same time when we're looking at characters like Yorm, like Nusha, like others, it does take time, especially when we do have to go back to mocap. Like, all these things take a long time, but we want to get it right. We want to make sure that we do right by players. Players are sticking by Nusha and Yorm and all that sort of stuff, so we want to make sure that we do it right. We're not ready to announce a Nusha rework yet. Again, like I said, Yorm, we started this Yorm rework 6 months ago. It takes a long time to really, really get into it, get the nitty-gritty details out, and get them right.
No,
6
I think that's the
months.
thing. Like, not a
Jesus
lot of
Christ.
people who just like, you know, they play the game, they engage with it, they love it. They're like, For Honor is awesome. It's like been a part of my life for whether it's like 6 months or 6 years. And but they don't really, you know, have exposure to like just how long this stuff takes. And it's like, yeah, we want to do this rework on a character we know needs it, but it takes like this much time. Or we can do like a whole bunch of changes to like 7 characters, but all those changes only take this much time, and it's like, well, time versus impact to the community, and like there's a lot we have to consider.
Yeah, but you can
So it's
get a
like,
lot of
80%
views if
of
you
the
say
community
that
can have
Ubisoft
better gameplay in
hates
the meantime while we
Jormungandr
work on
and
this other stuff.
doesn't want
And
to
that's how we
rework
roll.
him.
Exactly, right.
Which
And
is where other
what's
characters
really
come
important
first,
to us.
right?
And like, we know that people are always going, oh yeah, what about balancing? What about reworks and stuff? And we really, really want to work
Even though
with
it's
them
just
as much
because
as we
it's
can.
difficult to
But like you
rework,
said,
god
sometimes we have to
damn
strike
it.
a balance a little bit of
Balancing
going like
balance.
how long we take to do like specific reworks.
The most difficult
versus
character to
doing a
rework
bunch
in
of
the
hero
entire
changes and
game.
stuff and getting into it and getting the best game possible we can, and getting the most balanced game we can. Clearly, nothing has
And
perfect
you know, if the
balance. but
rework was
the
just
better
shit
we
tier
can
like
get there,
Conqueror,
the more enjoyable it is for everybody, and the better
in
it
terms
is.
of fun to play,
And one last thing,
then they would never hear the end of it.
yeah, well,
And
no,
it will always be their ruin to Jormungandr
the
forever.
feedback, right? So we love getting feedback. We want everyone's feedback. If you like this, if you hate this, if you like one part of it but you don't like the other, like any sort of feedback that we can get, we love it. I want to hear everything, right? You can tell me that you don't like what I'm doing, it's fine. But at the end of the day, it's the most feedback we get, the better it is. And do not hesitate. Like, you can go on Reddit, like I said, whenever these things happen, we get testing grounds. I'm
You're there,
the,
I'm there.
The weekend, the weekend after, I'm on, like, my wife's getting mad at me because I'm on Reddit all weekend. So it's like a lot of
Every Saturday, my
every
wife is like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Work stuff," and she's like, "But we have plans," and I'm
Right.
like,
So-
but For Honor."
right, it's our life. So So that's the thing, right? So all the feedback, we look at it, we read it, we pour through it. I watch, like, I know Alex too, like, we all watch like all the videos that content creators make, everything. We need to get into why players like things, why they dislike things, and we know, because we also play the game, but we want to get to a point where everybody's feedback is considered. We're not just going, oh, the pros love this, or like more casual players love this. No, it's like everybody's feedback goes into consideration, and we make choices based on that. And we really want to have as much feedback as we can on all of those things. And so that's what I wanted to say. Like, it's very important to us, and so it's yeah.
But yeah, I think that's it for this segment.
That's it for the segment, yeah.
So we will be right back with some content of the week and a few other things. So Nolan will be back to join me for that. JC, Alex, thank you so much. Thank you everyone watching for bearing with us through the technical issues. But we'll be right back with content of the week.
Okay, I think this is where I tune out. I also have to do other things as well. I already saw the D&D execution. It's like pretty cool, man. Gonna make a video about it and all that. Yeah, bye-bye.